Good morning and welcome to Stationery at 4. Today I'm going to be doing a short review on the Midori notebook. This is in the A5 size and it is my favorite notebook. I'm spoiling the review right now. Well, maybe it's not so much of a review as more of a closer look as to why I think this is my favorite notebook, what I really like about it, and why you might consider picking one up for yourself as well. So without further ado, let's dive into the details. I've got a brand new Midori MD notebook. This is the A5 in a blank, and I prefer the blank, but they also come in a graph, which is with a 5mm grid, and a lined version which has 7mm line spacing. My preference is the blank. And so I'm going to go ahead and do a little bit of an unopening here, just as I need to switch my notebook for my daily journal. So just to give a quick overview, A5 size. This is a plastic sleeve that it comes in. I bought this at Reid Stationers for $16, and to me that's one of the biggest selling points right there, is the fact that the price is so aggressive. So let's go ahead and open this. It comes in a plastic sleeve here. Just pull this right out, put the sleeve off to the side. When you open this, this has the Midori branding on it, and a little bit of a sleeve here, so we'll just go ahead and take that off. So just a little paper sleeve with minimal packaging. And the notebook itself, I don't know if you can tell, has a thin paper, wax paper perhaps, cover that it comes in, just as a bit of a protective sleeve. In my opinion, it's not very durable. A couple of tosses in your backpack or your carry bag and that will get torn apart in no time. And while it is nice to have this protective sleeve, I personally just take it right off and use a cover such as the Galen Leather A5 Portfolio or something like that, just because, like I said, this won't last if you're planning to carry it around with you. So we'll leave it on for now, just for the purpose of the video. When you open up the book, you're presented with a box to label or title your notebook, made in Japan, Midori, and voila, and it just jumps right in, which is exactly what a minimalist notebook should do. And one of the first things I like to do whenever I get a new notebook is just kind of pick the middle and just give it a little press, spread it out, and kind of spread my way through as such, just so that the spine gets broken in. The one more thing I should mention that comes in the packaging is some stickers or labels that you can use to label your notebook before or after you're done with it, or during, I guess, at any point, should you wish. So we'll just set that off to the side. So the notebook itself, as I mentioned, is an A5, and it has a yellow ribbon marker or page marker, and that's really it to say about the aesthetics of the book. It opens up, and it's just filled with pages. The last page here just has a bit of a Midori branding again, and that's it. The cover, let's talk about the functionality here. The cover is a soft cover notebook. I'm going to actually take this right off for now. Is a soft cover notebook. And it's a nice cover, but it's again going to get beat up fairly quickly. And it's cardstock, so nothing fancy, just thicker cardboard cardstock paper. So let's talk about what I really like about this notebook. This is, again, my favorite notebook to use. Starting off with the price, again, just to reiterate, this is a 16 Canadian dollar notebook, which I think is an amazing bargain. That's number one. And what are you getting for $16? Well, it is fountain pen paper friendly. No, fountain pen friendly paper. There we go, got the right order. And I have no trouble using any inks or any pens on this paper. Now, is it as smooth as Tomoe paper? No. Or any of the Apika notebook papers or anything like that? No. But what you get for $16 is a very good bargain for using fountain pen friendly paper. I'm not actually sure of the actual weight of the paper itself. If I were to guess, between 70 to 90 grams, but I'd have to corroborate, so don't take my word on that by any means. If anybody knows, please do let me know in the comments section below. I just haven't been able to find that out, and I haven't reached out generically to the manufacturer at this point, or the makers at Midori. I'll pull up one of my other older notebooks and show you. So here's a bunch of different inks and pens that I've used with respect to and it keeps up with my 1.5 stubs, bold stubs all the way down to my extra fine, no problem there. And if we flip it over to the back here, very minimal show through, if anything, or ghosting, minimal show through, bleed through. One of those terms. I can't seem to remember what the technical term is off the top of my head. Anyhow, I think it works for me. The other thing to note here is the blank notebooks, but I think all of the MD papers, I only use the blank. I haven't tried the graph or the line yet. Can take felt markers and stuff like that, but I would be a bit careful with respect to felt markers. These do bleed through very, very easily. That's not a very good example, but on other ones, other notebooks that I have, if you draw really hard with the felt marker, it just bleeds right through. The other thing I like about the paper is the fact that with my Sheening Inks, I think it does a really good job of showing the sheen on this paper, which is good to note. Here's just kind of regular a red Shiraz by Diamine ink, and then here is a Diamine Holly, which is a green sheening red. So there's a bit of variation that you can see. Below that is the Robert, I always pronounce that really weirdly, I don't know why. Robert Oster Fire and Ice, and that has a blue-red sheen that you may or may not be able to tell in this notebook image here. So that's a fountain pen friendly paper. So to recap, price, fountain pen friendly paper. I absolutely love it for that. I like the minimal aesthetic. I think it just gets so to the point, which is a notebook. That's exactly what it's used for. I like the page marker, the ribbon marker here as well. It's a nice bright yellow color. I keep it in my Galen Leather A5 portfolio, so I don't actually use it all that much, but when I do use these notebooks for other purposes other than journaling and not necessarily in my leather covers, I quite enjoy it. Now, one thing here just to note, one of the things that I do is just use a line spacer for my blank notebooks, and I toss it in behind a sheet and it shows through very nicely through the paper. By the way, that line spacing paper there is from the Well-Appointed Desk, and I will put a link to that below, something you can just print off at home and use as required. And that's really it to say. I mean, those are kind of all the things I like. Does it have all the bells and whistles of a typical notebook? Well, what's typical, I guess? From a Japanese perspective, minimalist aesthetic, fantastic. The typical, I guess, let me clarify what I would classify as typical. Typical compared to the Leuchtturm, which is a hardcover notebook and has a flap in the back. For 15 to 16 Canadian dollars for this notebook, you can't go wrong. Is it a Tomoe paper notebook or any fancier paper notebook? No. And that's not what the intent of this notebook is. It's meant to be a get down to it. This is a notebook for everyday use, for all sorts of uses. It ticks the boxes off for fountain pen friendly paper use as well, and it even gives you the ability to play with some of your sheening inks and perhaps your shimmer inks as well with this paper. Again, is it Tomoe paper sheen? No. But is it close? It does the job. It seems to tick off all the boxes of what you want in a notebook, at least in the A5 size notebook, and at least for me. So there you have it.
If you liked what you saw in this video, please consider clicking on the subscribe button below. And if you've got your own favorite notebook that's different from the A5 Midori, or a different size, or you've got a different brand notebook that you'd really like to use, I would love to hear about it in the comments section below. Take care, have a wonderful day, and bye for now.